Okay, so today I want to take a look at the newly released depth chart for the University of Oklahoma, and all that's coming up after the bumper.
Don't be cornering me. Hold up. Time. You gotta help me with that corner
What's up, kinfolk? It's RJ Young. I am not on a step mill. Consider hitting the like and subscribe button because I upload a video every single day. We live stream on Mondays and Wednesdays at 3 o'clock Central Standard Time. Please join us for that. If you miss it, though, you can download the RJ Young Show podcast. Please leave a 5-star review there. If you leave a nice review, I will read it on the live show. And it's going to be a very special live show for those of you that join. So I really would appreciate you on this one. So let's take a look at the depth chart for the University of Oklahoma that was released on Wednesday, just 3 days before the Sooners are scheduled to take on Missouri State at 6 o'clock at Gaylord Family Memorial Stadium on Owen Field on pay-per-view. Going to still have to pay $55 for that, even after Baylor and La Tech got postponed. They just moved 2:30 game, Arkansas State, Kansas State, into that window. You would think maybe they're going to move OU and Missouri State to 2:30 p.m., but no! 6 o'clock. That's what we are doing. Okay, so hold up. I got to text my girl right back right quick because she just texted me and I want to be able to get this to her. All right, because we got a very special podcast guest for the Saturday podcast that I'm very excited about and kind of help me with that. All right, so at quarterback, we got Spencer Rattler at the 1. We got Tanner Mordecai at the 2. There is no third quarterback listed here, which I think is interesting because Chandler Morris and Tanner Schaefer are both on the roster, and I think that Tanner Schaefer would get that job primarily because he's redshirt senior and also because he's never lost a game that he started. He's 31-0 as a starter, and West Texas high school football legend that he is. Running back is going to be really interesting because you had Kennedy Brooks with the opt-out, who was one of the most prolific running backs in OU history. So you get TJ Pledger at the 1, and then we got an or situation with Marcus Major and Ramondre Stevenson, followed by Seth McGowan. I think this is interesting because Ramondre Stevenson is on the depth chart along with the other 2 suspended players that we think were suspended. We'll see if they actually get to play, but been hearing all sorts of good things about Marcus Major from the jump. TJ Pledger, this is his time to shine. He averaged 6.5 yards per carry last year on, 10 rushes, so 10 rushes for 65 yards. But Riley has had nothing but good things to say about him. At the H, which is the tight end position for Oklahoma, you got Austin Stogner or Braden Willis or Jeremiah Hall. So all 3 of those dudes are playing H this year, which is kind of fascinating. If for no other reason than I thought of Austin Stogner as a tight end, and he kind of fullback, but large as he is, 6'6", 250, and a monster, just nasty. I could just easily see him as a starter, and seeing as he was made available for interviews this week, along with Spencer Rattler, I would expect to see a bunch of him against Missouri State. At left tackle, a bit of a shock here. Anton Harrison, redshirt freshman at 6'5" to 334, is going to get the start over Stacey Wilkins. Not a redshirt freshman, true freshman, 2020 class. Redshirt freshman is Stacey Wilkins. Did not expect Anton Harrison to come along that quickly, but that's really great if you're Bill Bedenbaugh. Left guard, Marquise Hayes, and then Andrew Rame. Andrew Rame getting some run here. We've heard that Andrew Rame could take over as the starting center for Creed Humphrey if he got hurt or if Humphrey decided to go to the NFL. Getting another year at him is going to be outstanding. He could be the most talented offensive lineman outside of Creed Humphrey to ever come through Oklahoma, especially in the interior. At center, Creed Humphrey and Ian McIver. Ian McIver is steady as she goes. Creed Humphrey is the most talented player on the entire OU football team. That's Lincoln Riley. That's not me. Matter of fact, when Kyler Murray got the job, he said the most talented football player on our team is not Kyler Murray, it is Creed Humphrey. Tells you a lot. Right guard, Tyrese Robinson, Bray Walker, 2 dudes that I really trust. Bray Walker, a former 5-star. Tyrese Robinson, Marquise Hayes, 2 of the best tandem guards in the country. Right tackles, Adrian Ely and Eric Swinson. Good move for Eric Swinson, who got beat the hell up at left tackle last year so badly that R.J. Proctor had to move from guard to tackle, and it wasn't really great. It was the only weak part of the offensive line last year. Hopefully, Ely and his returning can help Anton Harrison, but we'll see. Still have questions about left tackle. At Y, which is kind of your slot receiver, Obi Obialo gets the start over Drake Stoops, who is still not on scholarship yet, to my understanding here, is a redshirt sophomore, but, it's not like Stoops is wanting for money. His daddy is Bobby. All right, at Z, we got Charleston Rambo and Marvin Mims. Marvin Mims also, a little further down this chart, is a shocker for me, but Rambo is going to be your number one. We all knew that. Seeing Marvin Mims on here, yes, absolutely, because Mims got skills, right? Mims set the national single-season receiving record with over 2,600 yards last year as a senior, and then also set the Texas State high school football career receiving yards at Lone Star Frisco, and this guy was committed to Stanford. He's smart as they come. He's majoring in engineering, and he has the goods. And then at X, Theo Weiss, Theo Howard, Trajan Bridges. It's a strong group there. The Theo's going to hold it down at X. I really expect Weiss to be great because he was the most polished receiver that Oklahoma had coming in that 2019 class that was filled with great players like Jaden Hazelwood, who is not on the depth chart at all here, so he's definitely still rehabbing his injury of a torn ACL, we think. Defensively, Ronnie Perkins gets the start here on the depth chart, along with Isaiah Thomas, and Marcus Stripling, and Reggie Grimes at defensive end. So expect to see a lot of Thomas and Stripling and Grimes, and if you see Perkins, say thank you. Had 6 sacks last year. That's nearly a quarter of Oklahoma's entire sack tally last year. Losing him would be a loss. Duh. Nose guard, you got Perion Winfrey, Corey Robertson, and Jordan Kelly. Perion Winfrey, 6'3", 297, a junior college transfer from Iowa Western. Need him to stick around for 2 years. I think he has an opportunity to be really great. At defensive tackle, LaRon Stokes and Josh Ellison. 2 dudes that I expect to play a lot of football. LaRon Stokes is the former Big 12 newcomer of the year and the first homeschool kid to get a scholarship to play football at the University of Oklahoma. He's from Tulsa. T-Town, stand up, baby. At Mike, Deshaun White, David Ugwebu, and Robert Barnes. Ugwebu is also the dude that first committed to Alex Grinch in OU history, right? And him moving from outside linebacker to inside linebacker tells you just what kind of development that he's had, and also gives you a solid number 2 to a Deshaun White that I think is going to lead this defense. Robert Barnes dropping down from safety as a redshirt junior, try to get some run at middle linebacker. It's a good look for him. Brian Asamoah getting the start. So Deshaun White is going to be paired with Asamoah, followed by Brian Mead, who's still a walk-on as a redshirt senior, Shane Whittier, and then, of course, Jamal Morris, who dropped down from safety to play some linebacker. I really want to see Shane Whittier play. I think Shane Whittier has the best upside of any of these guys. Whittier just absolutely is an athlete. Like, he's playing Wildcat quarterback and linebacker out there in North Carolina. Buy stock in Shane Whittier is what I'm telling you. At rush, we got Nick Benito, who had 4.5 sacks last year as a redshirt freshman, finally started to come along. Then you got John Michael Terry, Joseph Wette, and Brendan Walker. John Michael Terry, Joseph Wette ought to get a lot of run here. John Michael Terry was playing outstanding football before he suffered an injury last year. Expect them to push Nick Benito for time at that rush linebacker spot. Trey Brown, there's your starting corner. We know what that is. Josh Eaton, following him on the depth chart, and DJ Graham and Kendall Dennis. So that goes senior, freshman. That's how much trust they have in Trey Brown and how big a deal he is at that cornerback position. At the other cornerback position, Jaden Davis getting the start in the Parnell Motley spot, followed by a Trey Norwood, so a sophomore and a redshirt junior there. Solid at the corner positions. Safety, Delarian Turner-Yell. When Turner-Yell was playing well, Pat Fields was playing well, Oklahoma's defense plays superbly. He's followed on the depth chart by Woody Washington. They're going to stick with him at strong safety. And then Pat Fields, Justin Broyles, Bryson Washington at free safety. Again, Justin Broyles just finding a fit there. I mean, this was the number 1 player in the 2017 class for Oklahoma. And he's a corner, but they've been moving him to the strong safety spot. At nickel, Brendan Radley House, Jeremiah Cradell, and Justin Broyles. Expect to see some Jeremiah Cradell there, if at all, but Brendan Radley House has been getting rave reviews from Alex Grinch, which is not an easy thing to do. So I expect to see a lot of him as well. Now, at the kicker spot, Gabe Burkich, who still hasn't missed a field goal, was a preseason All-American. Punt, yes, Reeves Munchtow, followed by Zach Schmidt. Then kick off is also Gabe Burkich. Kick return, Trey Brown, and Marvin Mims, who's also the starter at punt returner. Yo, we're going to get the Marvin Mims show. I'm excited about this. Also back there on punt return is Charleston Rambo. And yeah, absolutely outstanding for Marvin Mims on here, which is the real shocker. Anton Harrison starting at left tackle is also huge. Seeing the 3 suspended players on the depth chart might mean something good come Saturday in as far as good news for Oklahoma. All right, please stick around for the live show. Want to get this up as soon as I possibly can because I understand that there's some people that just want this segment. Here's this segment. Also, thanks for being here. Doses.